Now, isn't this hilarious? We talked about this last week. I think it was last Sunday, the CNN Plus, the fact that they could only pull 10,000 subscribers, and it just more or less kind of devolved into an entire conversation about how we're kind of reaching a bubble period when it comes to streaming services. And, well, take a look at this. Not but a week later, Netflix is losing $6.25 billion a year, as here come the excuses as users flock to illegal password sharing marketplaces offering its $20 a month package for $1. Disney Plus and HBO are also being ripped off. Or maybe you're just not providing anything of value, okay? How about that? How about the market saturation is reaching a point where there's so many services, okay, not everybody can afford $20 a month for fucking Netflix. Remember a few years ago, okay, Netflix had a whole bunch of good content from a bunch of different studios that are out there. And now, okay, like the talk of Netflix for a while were their Marvel shows, back when that was novel, okay? They had Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Punisher, they had all of those ones. The less said about Iron Fist, the better. But they had very high profile shows that were apparently, for everybody who watched them and everybody who reviewed them, who I respect, really liked the content. And that was on Netflix. And that was a reason to get Netflix back when it was a relatively decently priced service. Now, when I punched out, it was what the 4K service was. And this is Canadian dollars, I think like $12 or $15. Okay. And now I just took a look because I wanted to see like what's left on Netflix. And this was a little while ago, a couple of weeks back. And now I take a look, it's like, okay, cool. You get 4 logins. Okay, you can watch on your account 4 screens at 4K or some shit like that. Okay, whatever. And it's like $25 or some dumb shit like that. Like, it's way too high priced for just a whole dearth of content. Okay, it's like you could never watch everything that's on Netflix, and most of the stuff that's on there is just shovelware. It used to be something of significance when you had a Netflix original series like House of Cards. I know we're going way back in the day, but that's when people were actually happy to sign up for these services, okay? Back when the providers, yeah, okay, you'd have your back catalog of a whole bunch of other movies. Instead of going to the movie rental place, okay, you could just pop on a 1990s Steven Seagal 3-word action flick, kill an hour and a half, or watch a television show. You could watch How I Met Your Mother. You could binge watch all of that crap. Do whatever the fuck you want, okay? But now, like I said, last week, you have Netflix at their inflated price. Okay, sure, everybody gets Amazon Prime Video for free with a Prime subscription, but then also they're also upping the cost of Amazon Prime by $20 a year. Mine goes into effect next year. I got the email and all that shit. It's going up from $80 Canadian, this is Canadian by the way, to $100 Canadian for next year's subscription renewal. And I don't watch anything on Amazon Prime Video. I don't really watch any scripted or any sort of network or studio produced show. That's just not what I'm about. But outside of that, yeah, you have HBO, which HBO Max isn't available in Canada. I don't think it is, okay? But that's still, what, another $10 or $15, and then Disney Plus, another $10 or $15. Like I said last week, we're getting to a point where all of these streaming services were supposed to come about because everybody was tired of paying $100, $125, $150 a month for cable TV for the fact that they wouldn't watch half of the shit that's on there, and they're only getting it because of the premier movie services. Now we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, you have Netflix, you have Amazon Prime, you have what, Hulu or some other shit like that, and then when it's all said and done, and if you have a sort of a predilection when it comes to sports or something like that, you have another service on top of that, and you're getting to a point where now you got to rely on a decent internet connection as opposed to cable television, which is always still reliable. And with the advent of DVRs and pretty much every single set-top box, not really gaining anything. So we're reaching a bubble, and okay, cool. There's illegal password sharing sites. Theoretically, they're illegal. Okay, these could all be friends. But they're making up for excuses for the fact that it's an oversaturated market and the product is being thoroughly diluted, because you used to be able to boot up Netflix, okay, and you could watch all of the Disney shows. You could watch premier Disney content on the platform. And then everybody started to segment off. And now instead of just having one Uber platform, you're spending $50 or $60 a month if you just want to keep current on a bunch of the different shows that are out there. And even still, you're not watching half of the stuff that they're apparently supposed to be marketing their platform on. But let's get into this bitching and whining and see if we can parse out any relevant information that's on there. Netflix is losing billions of dollars a year because of illegal password sharing marketplaces that offer access for just $1. Experts have claimed. Whenever you see that, you gotta press a big old X the doubt on that. The popular streaming app is missing out on up to $6.25 billion annually as customers use the service that dodge the $20 a month premium account fee. Now, okay, here's another thing. This is why pirating for video games has been long since disproven. Oh, there'd be a much bigger user space if you would just make all of the file sharing sites illegal or whatever the fuck, if you just cut out piracy. No, people are willing to purchase a product if it's worthwhile, okay? If it's at a decent price and it's worthwhile, okay? And that's what they're not addressing here. They've been trying to make this case for a long fucking time, all the way back to the music industry with Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa, all of those platforms. I can't tell you, well, no, theoretically I can't tell you, okay? I had a friend who got exposure to a whole bunch of different music genres, let's just say, okay? Maybe they got exposed to the likes of the back catalog of Metallica, or The Police, or Queen, Iron Maiden, Def Leppard. Maybe theoretically somebody out there, you know, back in their youth, they were cruising those sites and getting back catalogs of Kiss and Judas Priest, all of those ones, okay? Rolling Stones and stuff. Hypothetically, just throwing those names out there, right? And then eventually, you know what? Hey, when they had the opportunity to purchase an album, okay, physical media, they would take that opportunity because they knew what was going on, okay? They had an opportunity to be exposed to something. They liked what they had out there. And then once they had their own money and they had the disposable capital, they could pay it forward, okay? Maybe they could go to a show when it was in the area with, say, Kiss or Judas Priest for this theoretical person, okay? Nobody specifically, right? Or Alice Cooper or anything like that. No. They had a point of entry. They built up a fandom off of the back of being exposed to the content. And then they partook in it over the years. And like with video games as well, okay? It's getting to a point now where if you can even get one of the new consoles that are out there, okay, in Canada. Like I said, I can only speak about Canadian prices. But a PS5 game, okay, even Nintendo Switch games, they're getting up to a brand new video game here is like $80 or $90. I don't fucking think so. There's no game out there right now that I could conceivably lay down that much money, you know, for just a regular edition of a game that's going to come out and there's only going to be 75% of the content because everything else is just going to get drip fed to you over the course of the next year or two. Okay, or you got to buy the deluxe edition for another $30 and you get some fucking cut content that they could have had. Or in the case of some certain specific instances where that said cut content for the exclusive editions was still on the disc. I'm looking at you, Capcom. These are shady business practices, which when people start to get exposed to them, they just start to look elsewhere because they're feeling cheated by the companies, okay? Netflix for a long time was $10 a month and they had everybody on their platform. And then incrementally, yeah, okay, you could understand a couple of a couple of price increases over the years. It's like, okay, we're starting to get more content, another $2 a month. It's like, yeah, you can understand that. But the fact that they just keep slashing the content, they keep changing out the content, and then they want you to pay twice as much, it's like, I don't think so. So these are excuses as old as fucking time, okay, as old as the digital age has been. Well, let's see what their numbers are. But the firm last month launched its first major counteroffensive to password sharing by letting watchers add up to 2 other users for just $2 in some countries. Yeah, and again, there's ways around that, but whatever. Netflix is not the only website to be hit by scams. Well, it's not scams. You're just fucking sharing your available slots on your account, okay? It's not a scam. You know, with HBO Max and Disney Plus subscriptions also being ripped off by dodgy so-called marketplaces. Can you name any of these? Like, I'm not interested in signing up for HBO Max or Disney Plus, okay? Like, I couldn't care less, but you're just gonna say that these places exist? I don't doubt that they do, but how big are they? okay? Because you're saying that there's a whole bunch of money being left on the table. But if you provide a service that's worth being purchased, then you would have customers, okay? Service is only worth as much as somebody's willing to pay for it. And you can say that there's $6.25 billion being left on the table, but how many of those people would actually buy that, okay? If you cut the price of it, if you made it more reasonable. Because look what they're showing here. Okay, yeah, HBO Max is $15 a month, okay? Disney Plus, okay, $8 a month. That's a little bit more reasonable considering the fact that, yeah, it has a whole bunch of old Disney content that's always going to be evergreen. But what's on HBO Max? Okay, you get Warner Brothers stuff, which is fucking questionable at best. And then $20 a month for Netflix. I know I fucking belabored the point at this juncture, but that is so much fucking money, dude. And the reason why everybody switched over to streaming services is because the cost of your entertainment was getting astronomical. That's a reason why, except for the big blockbuster films, people stopped going to movie theaters because it was getting outrageously priced. But let's see if they have any more tangible claims here. If they're just going to say, oh, people are just sharing passwords and we're leaving money on the table. Sure. Comes as a battle for eyes ramp up as the market is flooded with streaming services offering the biggest shows and movies on the planet. Exactly. But subscribers are facing frequent price hikes. Here, they're sort of addressing the problem with it, which is feared to be pushing younger viewers with less money to illegal password sharing sites. Exactly. Okay. It's not just younger viewers. It's people that are on a budget. Okay. People who, yeah, might be interested in a show on the platform, but don't want to shell out a whole bunch of money just to watch something that they might be interested in. Okay. Like, I get it. Everybody's trying to make a buck, but if your pricing strategy isn't working, maybe you gotta figure out what the fuck is wrong with you. One website was illegally offering Netflix Ultra HD for just $10 or for 10 days for just $1. All right, slashing the usual price of $20 a month. Well, to be fair, it would have been $3 a month for the Ultra HD. Okay, and that's the 4K. Which I know it's been a minute since I've actually had an active Netflix subscription or even used the service. Like, I've only watched 2 things on there, the Lemmy documentary and the Tyson documentary. That's it. Okay. But not everything was in 4K to begin with, so whatever. Meanwhile, another listed HBO Max, which airs Succession and Mayor of Easttown. I don't know what those are, okay? If they have old reruns of Sopranos and The Wire, okay, that's fine, I guess. But I have a box set of The Sopranos, so whatever. I don't need to fucking show up for it. For $1, so $1.10 a month instead of the normal $14.99, which is probably too much for it anyways. And a Disney Plus subscription touted for just 90 cents, where a legitimate monthly plan would be $7.99. And here's another problem too. They make these streaming services way too fucking complicated, okay? Because back in the cut a few years ago, I was interested in just getting a month or two subscription for the WWE network, okay? And here, like I said, in Canada, you have to go through your cable service provider in order to get a legitimate copy, or you could just hop on a VPN and put wherever the fuck you want to be and pay $9.99 a month for the service. To just run it through the normal channels, sometimes in Canada, you have to go through the old way of doing it in order to just get the theoretical digital service. It's cumbersome, it's annoying, and if you set up too many bars of entry in order to just get a fucking service, people are going to search elsewhere, okay? If you piss off your customer base, they aren't going to come back, okay? What's the old saying in marketing, okay? For every one person you piss off, they're going to tell 10 people, and for every person that you satisfy, they might tell 3. This is what you're doing with your unreasonable barrier of entry, and then just your unreasonable prices, okay? No, you're not going to capture everybody, and people are just going to sail the 7 seas regardless. You're always going to have those people, and those are the people that you're never going to capture. But there are some instances, for as many times as you say, oh, there's illegal password sharing sites, you're going to have the same amount of instances of people using pirating. Like there's a video, I can't remember the specific example, but there was a video game produced, okay? There was a studio that had a pirated version of the game that was out there, where they were telling the people, it's like, yeah, we understand that you're pirating, but next time that it comes around, and if it goes on sale on Steam, because it was a PC game, and I can't quite remember exactly what game it was, but they had a message in there. It's like, okay, cool, when you can afford to buy it, you can come back and yeah, here's a link to it. And that garnered goodwill for the company, and that their next game was a bigger success because of it, because they had goodwill with their customer base. Well, let's just wrap this up, because like I said, I've seen this coming from a mile away, and these examples, or rather these excuses from these companies, are just as well trotted as, well, Courtney Stodden over there. Ken Gerstein, oy vey, who is vice president of sales at Nagra, all right, and advises firms on anti-piracy measures, said it has now reached a tipping point. He told the Sacramento Bee, we've seen an increase over the past few years, especially under the COOF, because more people are subscribing to streaming services versus traditional pay television. One of the behaviors we've seen is that the subscription stacking, it started to become expensive for consumers. Could have just talked to me. Could have told you exactly this instead of having to be the vice president of sales for Niagara. And pirates have seen an opportunity in credential theft or credential hijacking. Or maybe people who buy the service realize that there's empty slots here, okay? Like I said, you have a guy who just signs up, he wants the 4K version, okay? He wants to watch the Tomorrow War on 4K or some dumb shit like that, and he wants a high-end experience for Netflix, okay? And he's got additional slots on his subscription service. Well, he's paying $20, so he just figured, oh, fuck, might as well go get a cut from it somewhere else. So nobody's hacking that. They're just like, okay, cool, I got these credentials. You want to pay me a couple of bucks, you can just hop on in. I don't fucking mind. Don't worry about it. I'm going to have it in perpetuity. You just kick in a couple of bucks. Otherwise, I'm going to change the password and go fuck your mother. Same thing with HBO Max. Same thing with Disney Plus. Same thing with every other streaming service that's out there. But some of these other places, some of these streaming services are getting smart, where it's like, okay, cool. You want a subscription? Here, kick us $4. It's just you, one screen at a time. Pay us $4 or $5, and yeah, you can watch everything that's on the catalog. Have fun. Okay, great. They make it reasonable. No, it's not theft. No, it's not credential hijacking. Okay, whatever other fucking flowery words you want to put on the part, or you want to put over top of the fact that your business model is fucking floundering and you need to adjust. Otherwise, somebody's gonna come in. Okay, and Pirate Bay is still gonna be open regardless. So either adapt or fucking die, like the platform that you were supposed to succeed, okay? You were the chosen one. You're supposed to bring balance to the entertainment force, but you're fucking failing. Live with it. With that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.